What's up, everybody? We're on a podcast now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about N7 Day, the things we got from today. And look, I had my expectations, and what I specifically wanted was not reached, but to be quite honest with you, I'm quite happy. Not that they needed to please me in particular, but as a person that's a Mass Effect fan and somebody that had expectations, I'm honestly kind of impressed. They had a blog post I thought was pretty honest and pretty, as direct as they can be, and that's kind of what I said even on Twitter. Like, for what they're able to say, and for only God only knows, what BioWare has been through the last little while, I can respect, the blog post they did. And then there was some deciphering of code because of that. A lot of things came out of it, and got some trailers connected to like Mass Effect 3's multiplayer trailer. I think one of those links led to, which was an odd one. But at the end of the day, the real big thing that kind of came out of it was this picture right here, right? So we'll talk about this picture. We also had even merchandise. They always do. Naughty Dog, for the Last of Us Outbreak Day, right? They'll do merchandise there, and 7 Days always good at it here. There's already been a couple U2's figures. I actually have the Tali one en route. I don't know actually if it's coming right away, but I did buy that one. I think they had Garrus as well. We get 2 new ones today, so a couple U2's figures you can do. Speaking of Tali, I have the Tali Funko Pop, by the way. Pretty rare, pretty expensive. They're having a statue that I think is $210, and I swear if I didn't already spend my Christmas budget, which I did as a family, I would have bought that because that thing looks so freaking awesome. So we got some merchandise. That's pretty cool. Let's read the update. So it comes from Michael Gamble, of course. Happy N7 Day. You guessed it. I come to you with another blog, but each year that I write these, they are important moments of reflection for me. I get to pause and think about how truly lucky we are to have Mass Effect and how thankful we are for the community and support we get. We've been through a lot together, and we appreciate you. Like you, we've heard the rumors lately. You've made it clear you care deeply about what's next, so let's start by setting the record straight. The next Mass Effect game is in development, and EA and BioWare remain committed to telling more stories in this universe. The truth is, the last few years have been incredibly busy times at BioWare, but currently, the team is heads down and focused exclusively on Mass Effect. We have a lot of universe to cover, lots of features to build, and lots of romances to figure out. We're excited by what we're building, and we promise you, when we're ready, it'll be a lot of fun to show. Until then, thank you for your patience, because y'all are thirsty for news, and I see you looking for secret meaning in my tweets. Okay, sometimes they have secret meaning. Beyond the next game, there's more to get excited about. I haven't talked about it much, but you might have heard a little something about a TV series. We've been partnering closely with Amazon on it, and we're really excited what the talented team over there is coming up with. The writer's room is going strong, and we've got a lot figured out about how it fits within the Mass Effect canon and where it sits in respect to the new game. The show will explore a brand new story within the universe's timeline and will be set after the original trilogy. It won't be a retread of Commander Shepard's story because, after all, that's your story, isn't it? Keep an eye on social channels for more celebrations today, including new Mass Effect gear, free crossover items appearing in Escape and Apex, and more. Happy N7 Day. And he says there's no secret information to be gleaned by anything I'm saying today. I promise. Of course, that's a bold-faced lie, and I don't really appreciate it. No, I mean, honestly, he was lying because you could look at the italics going on every so often, in the words of that. That's kind of, I think that's how we got to this picture, is by breaking down the code he literally left in the blog post. So that was fun. Nice lie at the end there. Okay, let's start with the TV show and kind of make our way, work backwards, and we'll talk about this picture to end it. So, TV show. I like that idea. I honestly can respect the idea that, like, Shepard is us. And why would we want to? Now, to be fair, okay, I was actually bracing to just do Mass Effect again in the show. So it's not like I would have thought it was an evil choice or something like terrible that it was doomed to fail. Okay, well, sometimes a lot of TV shows like that are doomed to fail. And to be honest with you, I don't have an enormous amount of confidence in this show. I say it so often on these channels, but oftentimes these games turned movies, games turned shows, I always take the under. I always am under excited, not as excited, so that I can be blown away if that happens. And honestly, it doesn't happen all that often that you actually get good stuff. Sometimes, but not often. So I'm not expecting it to be good, but I'm okay with that choice. I think it's an interesting choice because now it's going to connect to the game, and now you have to figure out when in the timeline. Well, we know after Mass Effect 3, okay, that's fine, but also like where's it going to fit? The show ends and then the game picks up 5 years later, 10 years later, a day later, right? So they have to figure that out. But overall, that's more of an announcement than I actually thought we were going to get. Now, that was the TV show. But in terms of the actual update itself, you can actually take a little bit from that, right? So again, I can like the honesty from what he's able to say. And I do think they're obviously holding stuff back, even in terms of what, they're able to say. It's pretty clear, and I think it's another way of saying that the rumors were right. The rumors are actually true. BioWare was a mess, and the Mass Effect team was brought in to help the Dragon Age team. That team was a mess. Dragon Age, the Veilguard was a mess. Mass Effect team, from that angle, didn't really help. But from like the rumors we have heard, I believe the Mass Effect team is the only reason that BioWare team was able to freaking put out Dragon Age. So they clearly got some talent to them. But I mean, again, like the long and short of that is simply they were divided for so long. Now, here's the deal. I'm not a fan of like the overall plan. Like, I think, maybe I read it and I just wasn't even paying attention. Maybe it was a tweet. I think he's had tweets earlier in the day responding to fans being rather disappointed by what was happening today. And one of the things he talked about was like, this is finally them able to do Mass Effect. Something along, I'll maybe try to find the Twitter post that he had. And again, like, I like that honesty, but I think it also, like, okay, cool, they're heads down, they're working on it now. All of BioWare is focused on Mass Effect, but you announced it years ago. It's one of those examples of a game that was announced 3-4 years too early. And so I would side kind of with the angry fans on this one point. It's more of an insult to us that like, okay, well, yeah, you're doing good now, but maybe like an apology or maybe like learn from your mistakes, because like it's not really acceptable what happened here. And, again, just in terms of BioWare in general, it was a mess. Is it still a mess? It might be, but we don't really know that, right? We know that it's probably a small team that's working on Mass Effect. So that part is kind of good and bad. I can appreciate the honesty. I believe them. I believe everybody's working as hard as they can on Mass Effect, but is it a fully stocked team? Are they happy with the team size? And how did we get here? Well, we got here through a lot of pain. We got here from announcing the game far too early. You shouldn't have done it when you did it. It was at least 2 to 3 years too early. And in reality, when did you actually start working on this game? Was it a year ago? Was it 10 people working on this game for 2-3 years, and then just in the last year now it's a sizable team? Because this game is going to be like 5 more years till it comes, if that's the case. So I don't know, like that. And when I think down that line, I get rather mad. I get rather disappointed. So I'll stay a little bit more optimistic. Again, I can appreciate that update, and overall maybe slightly more good than bad, but it does shine a light on the terrible management up until this point. Maybe not the last year. Maybe this is where things turned around. But before this past year, just unbelievably bad choices by probably everybody involved. Or I guess whoever made the decision to announce it so early, they should be having a strict talking to. Okay, so that's that part. Now, of course, you have this picture here. The biggest thing to take, I don't want to make this like the smallest segment of the video because it's maybe the most important, but still, there's not too much you can say. So obviously, these are Krogan. And one thing you can't see in the picture that is literally on my green screen, but the rest of them have masks. And this is multiple times we've actually seen like breathing, like there must be something in the air, not just on this planet, not just in this civil war that we'll talk about in a second, but seemingly whatever's going on, because we've seen a couple characters or a couple races wearing masks. So maybe something's going on with the air there. And so, okay, what can you take beyond that, I guess, from this picture? So at the bottom, it says Civil War. And Michael Gamble says that this is a future event, and it's probably, because I think somebody asked, like, who are they fighting against? Now, you would think Civil War would probably be the same race fighting the same race, but that's not always guaranteed, but that would be at least where I would have gone with it, and that was confirmed. That's what Michael Gamble said. They're probably fighting other Krogans. So he also said the final part to this entire puzzle is he talked about that everything we've seen in all of these N7 days, they all connect. Now that, again, not really all that surprising, because they better connect for all the detective work people have done, all the freaking years you've made us go through all of these small little things. But I think you're really starting to build a kind of a canon because it connects to the Geth. It connects to the Krogan. It connects to the Relay in Andromeda. I've seen so many theories, and they all kind of say the same thing, so I'll steal them and kind of say it in my own way. Post Mass Effect 3, maybe around the same time as Andromeda, something along the lines of trying to connect maybe the universe of Mass Effects 1 through 3 with Andromeda, right? Those two systems. And something along the lines of that when the Reapers are gone, there's a power dynamic shift, right? There is this power play up for grabs, and there's there's nothing uniting these people anymore, these species, I should say species, not necessarily people. They have an opportunity to go for power when maybe they didn't before. Things like a civil war can kind of break out. Things like the Geth starting to implement themselves into too much and maybe, upsetting different races might start happening, right? This, I think, is how you connect, by the way, all of these different N7-day things, which makes a lot of sense, and I will say, I like that. Number one, I really like a Krogan civil war. That's pretty freaking awesome. Just even the picture itself looks so cool. But I think the general feel of and I think that makes for a good story too. You lived as Shepard. You did what you did. It was freaking epic, right? And Andromeda did not work. Now, you can connect it all day long. I would advise you try to stay away from Andromeda as much as possible. Yeah, maybe connect it lore-wise, but in terms of characters or even major events, maybe major events, but I think you try to stay away from Andromeda. But I think what you do is you say, okay, well, what was the best of this? It was Mass Effect 1 through 3. It was uniting everybody against a common threat. Okay, common threat is gone. We jump ahead 200 years. I know 600 years is the time for Andromeda. Maybe you jump ahead 600 years. Maybe you jump ahead 300 years. Whatever. You jump ahead, and you're taking a look at these galaxies without the Reapers in them. And what do they look like? Well, there's chaos with this species, and there's chaos with that one, and these people are doing a civil war. These people are, again, like the Geth. Maybe they're implementing themselves too much, whatever it might be. And really, you think about Mass Effect in general, you're going around, you're trying to solve all of these species' problems very quickly, as fast as you can, to try to get them to join you. That's kind of that's the very basic point of Mass Effect, right? You're kind of doing it again, I think, in a very smart way. You're saying, okay, what's life like post really Mass Effect 3? I'm going to kind of ignore Andromeda. What's life like for everybody after 3? What's life like without Shepard? What's life like with only really Liara as being kind of the sole connector of the original to now? Maybe she'll guide you in a similar way she guided Shepard, right? That's all you get. And, okay, now you're next up in this Destiny type thing. You have to figure it out. And maybe there is an entity pulling the strings and kind of connects everything, but maybe not. Maybe it's just everybody's in disarray and you're trying to solve problems. So I like that idea quite a bit. And that's why I would say, all right, I'll accept what we got from this N7 day, because that picture rocks. The Civil War thing, that it connects to everything else. Okay, you're starting to build what this universe is like, universe like the Mass Effect lore. You're starting to build what that universe is like post 3, post Reapers, which I think is probably the game plan for the eventual game when we get it in 10 years from now. So that's it. At the end of the day, that was N7 Day. I pray to God that N7 Day next year involves a video or actual maybe gameplay or a story trailer or something. All depends on when it comes out, right? If this thing is a 2029 game, next year's going to be just as in that way, non-impactful as this. I think this year was impactful, but in a different way. But visually, getting, again, videos of this thing, maybe next year, but maybe it's going to take 2 or 3 years until we get stuff. We'll see. But at least BioWare and EA are committed, but the commitments can change at a snap of a finger, so hopefully that sticks, long term. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icons turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.